everyone, and welcome to another episode of this podcast. Yes, it's a podcast, it's a live stream, and basically, this is the podcast being recorded in front of a live audience, which is you if you're in the chat right now or watching right now. If you're not here, then you are listening to this at a later point of time on an audio app like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, JioSaavn, etc., etc., etc. And if you are doing that, please share the episode with someone you know, someone who you think might enjoy it, or leave a review or rating for the podcast wherever it is possible to do so. Spotify has a ratings feature, Apple Podcast has a review feature. So if you do that, the podcast might reach more people. And the podcast is pretty much my full time thing right now. Like, I'm an online creator and I make money from my content, and the podcast is the steady backbone of all of that. So this channel is something that I've been working on for the last couple of years. Here we discuss Indian culture, contemporary Indian culture, not ancient Indian culture, because there are plenty of people obsessing about that already. We don't need more. And we talk about the events of the day. We try to go into the cultural foundations of whatever has been happening. We talk about religion, culture, etc. This is basically, I have never been able to find a good definition for this show, except that it's a podcast about India, today's India, contemporary India, and India's culture. Because a lot of discourse that we see around where we are talking about culture seems to seems to be of the view that culture is something that is ancient by definition. And the truth is, culture is being built right now, isn't it? Right? We are all building culture. We are all creating tomorrow's heritage. So that is what this show is about. The reason I'm going into a long winded description of this show right now is twofold. Partly, I have to waste a little time before the live stream actually starts because people are still coming in. There are 14 people here right now. Hello, everyone. Leave a comment in the live chat. Say hi if you're here for the first time. And if you're a regular or a channel member, a paying member, then also say hi. Chat thoda khali khali lag raha hai. The other reason I'm going on a long-winded thing about this podcast today is because in the last episode I described some changes that are going to happen. So I have some good news and I have some bad news, and I will share it in a few minutes when more people are here. Today's topic is urban superstition, apolitical apathy, and spiritual excuses, because these things are related and I have spoken about these before. But the reason I want to speak about it again is because every 2 days someone posts some garbage in supremely confident manner on Instagram, which is essentially urban superstition. And one begins to wonder how it came to pass that seemingly well educated, well regarded members of society are this dumb when it comes to the state of reality, the state of science, what we know about reality. They will say some stupid shit like milk absorbs radioactivity. Why? Because milk comes from cow and cows are divine, and therefore it must be, it's a I think it's a it's a variant of the god of the gaps argument, where you're not necessarily finding a gap and putting god in them. You are preempting all future gaps and assuming that, I guess you could also call it cow of the gaps as far as India is concerned. But yeah, urban superstition is a major thing, not only among people who you would consider Sanghi, but also among people who consider themselves liberal. There are tarot cards, there is astrology, there is a whole lot of shit that falls into this category. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Uh, okay, so people are here in the chat. Jashmin is here, Yashwant is here, Siddharth, Anish, Manish. Arey wah, Anish, Manish, dono. Battler, Jasmine has said Monkey Man. I don't know what you're talking about. Is this a. Oh, okay. I think someone made a video about this Monkey Man thing recently, right? Yeah, that must be it. So, yeah, here's the good news and the bad news. The bad news is that next week onwards, we will not have a live stream on this channel on Saturday. The good news is that we will have a live stream on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This show is going weekday and leaving out the weekend because I want to like chill on the weekend and not do anything and do some channel optimization, maybe play games, etc. So from coming Monday, like today is Saturday, this Monday, कल को छोड़ के परसों से हर रोज रात के 10 बजे लाइव स्ट्रीम होगा। मंडे रात के 10 बजे, ट्यूसडे रात के 10 बजे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, फ्राइडे रात के 10 बजे, सैटरडे और संडे को नहीं होगा। और ये सारे एपिसोड एज यूजुअल पॉडकास्ट पे भी अवेलेबल होंगे। सो बेसिकली दिस पॉडकास्ट इज गोइंग फ्रॉम बाई वीकली टू 5 times a week. So yeah, let me know what you think of the decision. Maybe this will not last, but at least for the time being, this is the plan. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, we will come back to 2 days a week. But let me know what you think of the idea that this podcast is going daily. I mean, this live stream slash podcast is going daily. So to return to the topic, I saw an Instagram post by a well-known journalist recently who said that milk or some seeds or some such stuff, these are all uh, things that absorb radioactivity, or rather absorb radioactivity, which is wherever radioactive elements are found in India. And our friend Pranav Radhakrishnan has done a video about this, and he has said that he has pointed out that there is no evidence to back this claim up. And in return, the person who had posted this has blocked him on Instagram, which I suppose is is a badge of honor in one way or another. But I wanted to go into why these things happen. Like, why do people believe these things? What is it that keeps people believing in this nonsense? And what role do our present day spiritual gurus and our uh, uh, spiritual gurus have to play in it? And also this weird strain of, oh, मैं politics में interested नहीं हूँ, what does that have to do with it? We have sort of touched on this topic sometimes in the past, and what we have also done is that we have talked about hustle culture and spiritual gurus, etc. So this is kind of sort of in the same vein, with the addition of political apathy, because I did not really talk about politics back in that episode. So before we get into that, a few more comments have come in. Daniel says, how to persuade a person who has so much conviction in astrology? Ask them to prove it. Simple. As atheists, as rationalists, our position is that the time to believe in something, and this is David Hume, by the way, the time to believe in something is after it has been shown to be true, not before. So a lot of people will come along and they'll say things like, uh, sure, science may not have found something right now, but one day it will. And my point is, A, maybe it won't, and B, even if it does one day, the time to believe in it is after science has found it, right? Not now when it hasn't. So, what are you actually believing in? Because by that logic, you can believe in anything. Science may not have found uh, three-legged hippopotamuses who live on asteroids, but one day it will. Therefore, I will believe it now. Science may not have found something or the other. Science may not have found radioactivity absorbing milk, but one day it will. ऐसे बोल के तो कुछ भी तुम मनवा सकते हो। और बाय द वे, इफ दिस पर्सन हु बिलीव्स इन एस्ट्रोलॉजी, if if there are positions that they do not believe in, like clearly they will not believe in the reality of other religions, right? So say, okay, so तुम्हारा जो argument है कि science has not found it now but it will one day, what if this argument was given by someone else for their religion? What will you say then? So we'll see. And that is the best argument you can provide. Evidence, asking for evidence is never not enough. It should be enough. We should not have to go into murky depths of, अच्छा पहले वो 600 किताबें पढ़ के आओ फिर मुझे बताओ कि ये झूठ है। नहीं, मुझे नहीं ज़रूरत है तुम्हारी वो सड़ी हुई 600 किताबें पढ़ने की। I can look at this thing, I can tell that there is no evidence, and I can reject it. Uh, hmm. Logically is here. He says, marvelous. I'm so happy. Great logically. Thank you. Uh, Manish is of the opinion that it will be too much, the daily live stream. We'll see, Manish. वैसे भी 5 दिन करने का एडवांटेज ये है कि जिसका जो दिन आने का मन होगा वो आ सकता है, और अगर नहीं आ पाएगा तो नहीं आ पाएगा, क्या करेंगे? वैसे भी हम लोग एक वीकडे तो करते ही हैं, वेडनेसडे को। So let us try it. Let's see how this goes. Narinder says, thank you for all the good content, Vimo. Found out your channel through Liver Dog's interview. Today I found the opportunity to see the live stream. Keep it up. Thank you, Narinder. Much appreciated. Uh, Robert says, you're doing good work. Preetraj says, nice topic. And I watched Pranav's video. Siddesh says, don't you think casteism is now done in the form of classism? Classism is a subset of casteism. Think about it a little bit, you'll get it. हमारे इंडिया में जितना भी क्लास वाला ये है ना, it stems from caste. Caste is not one kind of classism. Caste is the mother category of classism. Anuja says, your clarity and simplicity amuses me. More power to you. Thank you, Anuja. The crazy guy says, why does people ignore the values and fight to save the image of a fictional character behind it in a religion? Right. So that's a very generic question and something we have gone through a lot. But if I had to repeat my answer in a very short way, is because human beings are very vulnerable in front of stories, and religions are stories. These stories were told a long time ago, and they were told so long ago that we have forgotten that these are stories. So now we mistakenly think that these stories are real, and therefore we fight, kill, and die for them. Simple. The solution is not to look forward to a future where there will be no stories. The solution is to look forward to a future where we know what is a story and what is reality. And one huge part of it is teaching children how to process literature. For example, if a child has read only one religious book their entire life, right, and they have not consumed any fantasy, then when they do consume fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, etc., they'll say, अरे ये सब तो वैसा ही है जैसे हमारे धार्मिक किताबों में लिखा हुआ था. मे बी मेरी धार्मिक किताबें इन्हीं की जैसी एक किताब है. And then the hold of religion on your head loosens. It will never loosen completely immediately because a lot of factors go into keeping it there. पर हम बच्चों को अगर फैंटेसी साइंस फिक्शन से ज़्यादा अवगत कराएंगे तो हम रिलीजन का जो होल्ड है उनके मन के ऊपर उसको ढीला करा पाएंगे. Sorry. Jashmin says, will you allot topics of streams for different weekdays? I will try, Jashmin. जैसा ये सब हो रहा है वैसे ही करेंगे. We will have more topical stuff, like whatever is in news that day or the day before or stuff like that. We will talk about that. Whatever questions people have, we will do that also. Sometimes there'll be atheism related discussions. Sometimes there'll be politics related discussions. We'll see what happens. It will be a live podcast. I don't know what will happen. That's the exciting part. Siddharth says, I meant like now instead of saying that I can't sit beside him because he's lower caste person, people now simply say he's a safai karmachari and is dirty without bringing caste, they do it. Yeah, so that's still casteism, right? Just because they are not saying it doesn't make that reason go away. It is still casteism. Crazy guy says that is like saying you disrespect my waifu, I will end your waifu. Purvesh says, with good news, we can gain more knowledge from many knowledgeable people. With good news? Oh, the good news I gave? Yeah, maybe. I can't promise that I will have a guest in every week, but the live stream will happen every day. Sometimes there'll be people, sometimes there will not be people. At least there will be me. I remember a dialogue from a Samit Basu novel where this guy goes and meets someone and he says, when he gets there, the person he's supposed to meet is not there and he gets a phone call. And on the person, the other person says, you were supposed to come alone. And this guy says, and you were supposed to bring at least yourself. So I'm promising that I will bring at least myself. Robert says, nope, casteism isn't part of class. Class is universal, but on the other hand, caste doesn't exist in anywhere except in India. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि इंडिया में जितना भी classism है, it stems from caste. I'm not saying everywhere in the world classism is a subset of caste. I'm talking about India. That is my concern. I don't give a shit what happens in Netherlands. Uh, S says, what do you think distinguishes totalitarian regimes that are so because of religious fundamentalism versus such regimes that are not based on religion? What do you think distinguishes totalitarian regimes that are so because of religious fundamentalism versus, hmm, I don't know, but I'm guessing you have a view on this. I would say that totalitarianism is always based on blinding people in some way. to their rights, their requirements, their needs. And religion is a very useful way of doing that. Sometimes the religion that totalitarianism relies on is already existing. It comes from ancient past. The religion exists, people believe it. Totalitarian boss character comes in, he says, yeah, yeah, so I am a representative of your religion. If you want good of your religion, support me. He tries to hide behind religion his own intents and his own desires. Sometimes the religion is modern, sometimes it is not based on an ancient thing. Like the cult of Hitler, for example, was, this guy came and he said that I am what you should believe in, and that cult was built around him. We have religions popping up all over the world every time. Sometimes these religiosities are based on some guru, some leader, some neta. So that is the difference. um so that's a just a wonderful movie, Just Mercy, recommended, I say. Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, hold on. Robert says, I heard that also most religious extremist people say that it was part of our holy book, the gravity or distance between earth and sun, etc. etc. They say it is written in our holy book years ago. Yeah. इसके बारे में हम लोग एपिसोड कर चुके हैं. Like how religion appropriates the findings of modern science and claims that it has always known what people know now. So उस वीडियो को बाद में देख सकते हो. But to get to our topic, which was apolitical apathy, I wanted you to think about a superstructure which contains all of us. Think about someone who works in a multinational corporation ka office in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, a place. And this person has a lot of pressures. They are attached to their salaries. They are attached to the cities and the towns that they live in. They cannot raise their voices openly in office against certain local politicians, because if they do, the political pressure will be on their bosses to get them fired. So their salary becomes a reason they don't speak up. These people, therefore, sometimes what happens is this person lives in the society, they see poverty, they see corruption, etc., and they feel like they should speak about it, but then they discover they can't, because if they do, their lifestyle goes away, their children's schools का fees भरना पड़ेगा, पैसे नहीं आएंगे तो वो कैसे होगा, their house tax, their rent, their everything, their petrol prices, it all needs to be talked about, but they can't talk about because there are pressures, the money will go away. So they don't. And because they don't want to say that they are, not doing it because of the salary, because of the fact that they fear such repercussions, they say, I don't care about this stuff. And these are the people you will most typically find who call themselves apathetic. Sorry, apolitical. Apathetic is what I am calling them, but they call themselves apolitical. Politics में मेरा interest नहीं है. They will still post some rants on social media, but they will never hold anyone directly responsible. They will never speak about the downside of any political system, because if they do, then I get messages from people all the time, like people who want to say something, but they don't, because they feel like if they do, they will get abused, they will get attacked. It's on social media, etc. And you know, one of the reasons one of the reasons people like me can't do what we do is because we don't have that fear of losing our jobs, and B, because many of the people who do want to speak up but can't actually do support people like me. So I'm an independent content creator. I make my money through the donations and the Patreon support and the YouTube memberships, etc., that you guys add to. And the apolitical apathy, in some cases, the apathy that we spoke about just now, in some cases it is also addressed by another means. These people look for justifications for their remaining detached from politics, right? Because politics gets ugly. You look at the news every day, you'll get depressed, you'll feel like you don't want to look at the TV. I feel like I don't want to look at the TV, and my work involves it, right? I don't want TV. I get all my news from the internet, but you get the point. So, how do they justify not remaining engaged? At times like this, religion or spirituality sometimes comes to the rescue. It tells them, uh, the world cannot be changed, you must change yourself. There are literal parables like this in all religions. I seem to remember a story in some modern, spiritual master ka book, which said that the fool tries to change the world, the wise man changes himself. Now, this sounds very sublime and deep and spiritually uplifting, but think about what this actually means. Don't try to change the world. The world cannot be changed. The systems that you are part of are too big and too powerful, and you cannot do anything to change them. So just adjust kar lo. When I say it like this, it sounds like I'm telling it to be a coward. But when a spiritual guru says it, it sounds like sane advice because the spiritual guru is saying it. So the local politician that this MNC employee is not criticizing gets away because this MNC employee now subscribes to a spiritual guru, an English speaking spiritual guru with a huge mansion and a large enterprise about soil or shit or something, but he doesn't criticize him. 2 days later, this spiritual guru is found on a stage with the same local neta, and the local neta is benefiting from the culture that is being created by the spiritual guru, and the spiritual guru is getting benefited by the money by the money that is coming to him from all these people whose this money that they're giving to the spiritual guru could have gone towards social causes, could have gone towards advocacy, could have gone towards legal funds, could have gone towards charity, but it goes to a multimillionaire spiritual guru who is also enjoying state patronage because he's a creator of culture. This last part of this is, the supplement to this is hustle culture. Those who are not into spirituality, those who are into self development, also get the same message. The world is very bad, but you with your effort can make something good happen. So they go in that direction. जिसको स्पिरिचुअलिटी पसंद नहीं है, वो हसल कल्चर में चला जाएगा. जिसको हसल कल्चर में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, वो स्पिरिचुअल हो जाएगा. I literally got a comment a few days ago from a gentleman who said that uh, something similar to the wise man changes himself. And I said, it seems to me that you are saying that we cannot prevent crime. Therefore, we should not worry about crime. And he replied, surprisingly, ki, think about all the crime solving that has been happening for so many years. Have we eradicated crime? So his argument essentially was that we have not eradicated crime. Therefore, it is futile to worry about crime. Therefore, we should not worry about crime. And the problem with this is obvious. In case it was not obvious, I'll clarify it. We eat food every day in order to live, in order to survive. But we are not going to survive forever, regardless of how much food we eat. Therefore, let's just stop eating and die. Right? That's what he was saying. That's essentially what he was saying. It is so ass backwards. This seemingly sublime piece of spiritual advice is so ass backwards that it is bizarre to think that people actually think this is good advice. It is not. It has never been good advice. It has never been good advice to think you can't change the world, so change yourself. Sure, in some limited capacity, the value of self improvement cannot be denied. But when it becomes a lifestyle choice for spiritual people, it is something that we have to worry about. I have one more point to make, and after that I'll start reading comments again. So keep leaving your comments. I'll get to them after I'm done with this. The last part is urban superstition, which I started this episode with. Uh, Urban superstition takes the form of time pass activities like एस्ट्रोलॉजी, किसी व्हाट्सएप फॉरवर्ड में ये पढ़ना कि एक मंदिर के अंदर लॉज ऑफ फिजिक्स डिफाई हो रहे हैं, या एक चर्च के अंदर कोई मूर्ति की आंखों से आंसू निकल रहे हैं, या समथिंग सिमिलर किसी मॉस्क के अंदर कुछ हो रहा है वगैरह वगैरह. Why do these things happen? These things are basically miracle claims that that are pillars that hold up the edifice of spiritual value. The spiritual guru, imagine a world where there is no spiritual guru. Imagine a world where you are a normal, rational human being, and a spiritual guru comes and says something like this. You will laugh at them. The reason you don't laugh at them right now is because you have heard this shit before. Your entire life has been religious indoctrination. You have heard shit like, you know, ब- तो भगवान तुम्हारे अंदर हैं, और अपने मन की सुनो, और कर्मों के फल की वजह से लोगों को दुख मिलता है, कर्मों के फल की वजह से लोगों को सुख मिलता है, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. बट the reason you're not surprised by this stuff because the reason you're not surprised by what the spiritual guru says is because you have heard this stuff your entire life. So when the spiritual guru says, you're not only getting knowledge, you're also getting a reinforcement of something that you have kind of sort of thought of as true since childhood. I have mentioned this before about religion. Religion exists and continues to exist because of childhood nostalgia. Because बचपन के बहुत सारे अच्छे मेमोरीज रिलीजियस रिचुअल के साथ एसोसिएटेड हैं. पूजा वाले दिन लड्डू मिलते थे. पूजा वाले दिन स्कूल में छुट्टी होती थी. पूजा के दिन हम लोग परिवार के साथ मजे करते थे. Those are the happy memories everyone carries with them. And religion, because it is such an integral part of all of that, manages to stick to the inside of our brain throughout our life. I was recently speaking to a gentleman who was Christian, a Christian gentleman from America. And I said, I pointed out that for most people, religion is something that they're born into. Most people belong to the religion that their family belongs to. And I said, is that the case with you also? Like, like you're Christian, were you born in a Christian family? He said, yeah, but when I was a young man, I was an atheist and I eventually went back to my religion. So this U turn happens a lot. A child can question religion because a child doesn't really lose anything. The parents don't disown them, etc., etc. But when a child grows into an adult and that adult moves away from home and they start missing their family, the thing that they grab onto in order to come back is usually something religious. So you'll find a lot of religious people say something like, I used to question my religion a lot, but eventually I realized that it was all true and scientific and factual and historical, and now I believe completely. Hindus do it, Muslims do it, Christians also do it. Hindus में तो बहुत होता है. Hindus will be at some point when they're teenagers, they will be like, ये सब superstition है वगैरह वगैरह, मैं नहीं मानता. But then they grow into adults, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, and they're like, milk can absorb radioactivity, and we knew this thousands of years ago. Clearly, I was misunderstanding my religion. My religion was always scientific. And then the usual stuff happens. And yeah, so the urban superstitions serve to keep the spiritual guru relevant. The spiritual guru serves to give you justifications for your political apathy, and your political apathy ends up letting go the people who are responsible for actual social problems. So I don't know if this made a lot of sense because it was kind of unstructured, but I find that unstructured things repeated make more sense than a structured video. If I had made this into a tiny little YouTube video, this would make less sense to me. But because it's a podcast and I'm speaking casually, maybe this will make more sense. So yeah, let's read some comments. Um, Purvesh, okay, already read that. Already read that. Huh. Robert says, I heard that also most religious extremist people say that it was part of our holy book, The Gravity. Already read that also. Science ka claim wala. Robert says, for example, tomorrow, upcoming future when human and science discover fourth dimension or artificial intelligence. But I'm saying here today that they will say they are bound to limit until science. I don't know what you mean, but I think I kind of get the sense of what you're trying to say. Yeah. If tomorrow we do find fourth dimension, artificial intelligence, everything, I promise you, every single major religion will come and say, हमको तो हजारों सालों से पता था. You, uh, there are already videos on YouTube. I think Jabi Koi even reacted to one about how Hindu mythology has the multiverse mentioned in it. So When they are talking about cosmology, they will say that the multiverse is just a hypothesis. But when they are competing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they'll say, हमको तो multiverse पहले से पता था, etc. etc. ये वीडियो बाय द वे, ये वीडियो बनने शुरू है मार्वल सीरीज लोकी के ठीक बाद. You'll find a lot of Hindu multiverse videos now. Until science develops that technology, they don't claim that it was written. Yes, the amazing part would be, see, the the beautiful part of science is that it has predictive value. You can look at something, you can examine it, and you can make certain predictions about it. You can say in how many years this is going to completely die or decompose. You can look at the velocity of something, direction of something, and you can say, okay, ये इतनी स्पीड से इस दिशा में जा रहा है, इतने समय बाद ये वहां तक पहुंचा होगा. Use religion to make one prediction, one accurate and acutely specific prediction. ऐसा नहीं कि आने वाले 10 साल में कहीं तो कुछ होगा. ये बताओ कि एग्जैक्टली किस दिन पर कोई चीज होगी, और फिर हम लोग मानेंगे कि रिलीजन, और उसका मेथड भी बताओ कि कैसे ये किया. रिलीजन डज नॉट हैव प्रेडिक्टिव वैल्यू, इट राइड्स ऑन द सक्सेस ऑफ साइंस. साइंस फाइंड समथिंग, रिलीजन कम्स एंड सेज, ए हमको पहले से पता था ये, हमको पहले से पता था ये. दैट इज द प्लॉय. Robert says, my opinion about caste is that caste is evil structure of society which is full of inequality. It has false foundation and people from Russia or Japan or didn't exist, labor or M. Robert, I have no idea what you mean, but I understand your first sentence and I agree with it. Caste is evil. Mm. Jasmine says, alliance of nobility and clergy in order to control the commoners as in feudal society. Yeah, so it's a different flavor of it. But as I said, in India, caste is the foundation of classism. Sabyasachi says, is religion an evolutionary advantage? If not, then why did religion flourish in all societies? Sabyasachi, not everything we have is because it was an advantage. Evolution is an extremely messy process. Not everything we have is because it was an advantage. Evolution does not care whether something is an advantage or not. It only cares that you live long enough to produce a baby. This is why mental health problems remain. We did not evolve to be happy. We evolved to survive and produce babies. By the way, uh, the science fiction series Orville, the third season is available on Hotstar now. If you have not seen it, please watch it. It is one of my favorite things in the world. All three seasons, watch them. It is true Star Trek. True Star Trek. I mentioned it in my Star Trek episode, but please watch it. This most recent episode is about this only. As for the question, is religion an evolutionary advantage? No, it is not. If not, then why did religion flourish in all societies? The reason it survived in all societies is because, uh, first of all, there are irreligious societies also. But the reason religion exists is because it's in early part of human tribal history, we had a need of keeping the tribe together. And religion kind of came to be the framework for it. And now we don't need to keep tribes together in that way, and religion still exists. So at best, it's a vestige of our social evolution. It is not an evolutionary advantage. पीयूष says, काश लोग मैनिफेस्ट ये भी कर लेते कि हिंदू राज खत्म होगा और मुस्लिम्स डिग्निटी और पीस के साथ रह पाएंगे. मैनिफेस्टेशन इज सो सेल्फिश. कम से कम पहले दुआ करते थे दूसरे के लिए. हाँ, तो मैनिफेस्टेशन अगर सच होता भी तो भी ये थोड़ी मैनिफेस्ट करते वो लोग तो चाहते हैं इन इक्वालिटी. अ कास्टिस्ट सोसाइटी इज नेवर गोइंग टू मैनिफेस्ट इक्वालिटी. उनके लिए इक्वालिटी का मतलब ही कुछ और है ना. um, Pankaj says, one of my friends posted the milk video on Instagram and removed it after watching Pranav's counter video. She admitted she was embarrassed. You guys work. Thanks. That's that. This may be surprising to you, but that's the first time I'm hearing that someone actually admitted that they were embarrassed. So Mayank says, most of the Hindus who say that I was atheist and now religion are the one who became atheist just to look cool. They never heard arguments. Yeah. एथिज़्म एथिस्ट बनने के कुछ अच्छे कारण होते हैं और कुछ नॉट सो अच्छे कारण होते हैं. नॉट सो अच्छे कारण होते हैं इमोशंस, क्योंकि अगर कोई व्यक्ति इमोशनल रीज़न्स की वजह से धर्म से बाहर आ गया, तो कल को वो इमोशनल रीज़न्स की वजह से वापस भी चला जाएगा. बट व्हेन समवन हैज़ यूज्ड रीज़न एंड लॉजिक टू लीव रिलिजन, देन द चांसेस ऑफ देम गोइंग बैक आर लोअर. Jasmine says basically it is a coping mechanism to reinforce and maintain the status quo. Hmm. Otangelo says, Vimo, hi, would you like to continue our conversation? Otangelo, I would love to, but not today. Today, we are talking about something else. There is a topic. On days when I'm talking about religion and atheism, you are most welcome to come and we'll talk. Messi says, hello. Mayank says, जेम्स वेब क्या फाइंड करेगा इनको अभी ही बता देना चाहिए मगर ये जब इन्फॉर्मेशन आ जाएगा तब बोलेंगे हाँ एग्जैक्टली Alogic says, oh my god, Otangelo is back. With due respect, Otangelo, type in your argument. We don't want another round right now. No, it's okay. He can come, but just not today. We can continue our conversation. As long as you say something new, man. Because the chat conversation that I had with you after that on my channel, you were repeating the same old stuff. If you have something new, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But the things that we have already gone through, I don't want to really waste time on them. Manish says, blockchain technology is also mentioned in Holy Book. अगर तुम एक बुक को ये मन बना के खोलोगे कि इसमें मुझे ब्लॉकचेन ढूंढना ही है तो तुम्हें मिल जाएगा द ह्यूमन ब्रेन इज अ पैटर्न सीकिंग डिवाइस इट कैन सीक एनी काइंड ऑफ पैटर्न इन एनी बुक ओपन द डिक्शनरी ऑन एनी पेज क्लोज योर आइज ओपन द डिक्शनरी पुट योर फिंगर ऑन अ वर्ड and ask yourself, does that word have to do anything with something that has happened in the last week in your life? Chances are you will find something because pattern seeking is our specialty. Correct. Yeah. Otangelo says the dispute is not between religion and science, but between good and bad philosophical influences based on scientific data. Again, that is a very vague statement. Religion and science, the dispute is between religions and science is because when religious apologists try to use science to justify their religious views, even though the scientists who came up with those views didn't actually say that, it seems like quote mining. You're basically looking for meaning where that meaning does not exist, and you're bending over backwards to connect this thing with that thing and try to make something out of it. It doesn't work that way. Vikas says, Vimo Bhaiya, I think I will not be able to join your live stream ever due to my job timings. How will I ask you my question to you? Vikas, अभी तुमको सुना पता नहीं होगा, अगले हफ्ते से लाइव स्ट्रीम हर रोज होगा, मंडे से लेके फ्राइडे तक रात के 10 बजे, और सैटरडे संडे को मैं नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि मैं 2 दिन की छुट्टी चाहता हूँ. So you can come on any day, whichever day suits you, Monday to Friday, रात के 10 बजे. Um, if evolution is about survival, then why has it produced apoptosis, where cells do suicide? That's a very good question. You should ask someone who understands biology, Otangelo. My question to you is, if you have questions about science, why are you not asking scientists? Because evolution is a scientific subject. I'm pretty sure there are answers to this, right? Go ask a scientist. If you have the intention of disproving evolution, go disprove evolution and get a Nobel Prize, and then I will have you as a special guest on my podcast. The problem with religious people who try to disprove evolution in some way or another is that they will never talk to scientists. They will never write a scientific paper. They will never get it peer reviewed. They will never ever be published in a reputed scientific journal, and they will never be called scientifically literate. And when they have to talk about this stuff, they will also come to atheists and talk about it. Why? My point is that I lack belief in God. What does evolution have to do with it? Even if you disprove evolution completely, it does not prove that God exists. So go talk to a scientist. Arijit says spirituality is all about understanding the spirit or the self and not the world, for which science is best. Everything gets distorted when we explain the physical world through spirituality. So, Arjit Chaudhary, the problem with that is that what do you mean by the spirit or the self? Because if you go by Indian definitions, there are five definitions for every, there are 50 definitions for every five people. I think of the self as a construct in my mind about my identity. When people talk about spirit, they seem to mean that it is something that survives death. And I don't know what that means because there is no evidence of it. क्या आप अपने लाइव स्ट्रीम्स की टाइमिंग डिफरेंट कर सकते हैं कभी एंड डेज भी चेंज कर सकते हैं कि अपने लाइव स्ट्रीम का फ्यूचर या फिर हमेशा यही टाइम रहे? विकास बोला ना तेरे को, अगले हफ्ते से, मतलब ये मंडे से हर रोज रात को 10 बजे होगा लाइव स्ट्रीम, मंडे टू फ्राइडे, सैटरडे संडे छोड़ के. Robert says, what I'm saying that people like labor and manual worker being outcast from society in other countries, and caste concept doesn't exist in any part of the world. Yeah, yeah. Charvak says the rights of Hindus equals full freedom and access to Brahminical mindset. Tell me about it. Chandigarh humanists and freethinkers says religion says truth is with me, while science says I am with truth. That's the difference. All the best from Chandigarh humanists. Thank you, Chandigarh humanists. Why didn't you actually? Okay, if you are an actual organization, hello. Charvak says Hindu is just a political word, else it is just castes and superiority, inferiority within it, which is Brahmanism. I keep talking about Hinduism, but every once in a while, not every once in a while, very frequently these days, someone will come and say, just use the word Brahmanism. And the reason I kind of hesitate to use the word Brahmanism because that gives me a way out. Because I am a Savarna Hindu, and when I say Brahman का सब fault है, I seem to be washing my hands and I'm saying मेरी कोई गलती नहीं है, ब्राह्मणों ने सब गलत किया है. जबकि मेरे कैटेगरी के लोगों ने भी बहुत कुछ किया है. So when I say Hindu, I essentially mean Brahmanism, but I also include as the perpetrators of caste every Savarn group, including my own. Alien says, love the Orville, feels like it has been nailing all the good ideas that sci fi is supposed to explore. Or at least Trek. It's very Star Trek. It's very Star Trek. Other says, new thing we hear is I get positive energy, cosmic energy, aura. Yeah, they all these words are just salads. They have no meaning. There is no meaning in any of these phrases. Positive energy apparently means feeling good. Negative energy means feeling bad. There is no usage of the word energy as far as science is concerned that fits these contexts. Uh, Otangelo says the data published in science papers is one thing. The philosophical opinion of the scientists that collect the scientific data is not binding. One is warranted to disagree. This is not quote mining. It is quote mining. When you're quoting an actual atheist, Stephen Hawking, the book that you quoted saying that he says that the universe is fine tuned, Stephen Hawking in the same book has said that the universe does not need God. You read that book and you came to the conclusion that Stephen Hawking supports your view that the universe is fine tuned. It is quote mining. If I took a look at what Jesus said right before he died, oh Father, why you have forsaken me? Apparently, he said this. Should I conclude that he was an atheist and should I use that quote to justify that God does not exist? No, because I know the entire body of work. I know what Jesus stands for. I can't just pick him up and claim him, right? That's my point. Vikas says, thank you so much, Vimoh Bhaiya, for good news. Your live stream is going to happen from Monday to Friday. Yay. Thank you, Vikas. Finally, तेरे पास point पहुंच गया. Sorry. Avara Billa says, you watching Miss Marvel? Yes, I'm quite loving it. In fact, Nadir was pointing out the other day that it's such good representation. For a change, they had jokes happening in a mosque. नहीं तो जितना भी अमेरिकन एंटरटेनमेंट है सब में मॉस्क में या तो कोई कुछ प्लॉट कर रहा है या कुछ डार्कनेस हो रहा है वगैरह वगैरह. That was such a welcome, refreshing breath of air. Right, ये क्या है? Otangelo says, if you do not have knowledge about evolution, stop making unwarranted claims claiming evolution is true if you are unable to back up the claims. Otangelo, I hope you realize how much of a fool you're making yourself look like. Evolution does not need my certificate. Evolution stands as true because it has been demonstrated thousands of times in multiple different ways. You saying it is not true does not make any difference to me or to anyone who actually understands how things work. It is not an unwarranted claim that evolution is true. Evolution is demonstrably true. The claims that you have come to me with are not demonstrable. Forget true or not. You cannot demonstrate anything that you say. So I think science gets this one. And stop making stupid statements like this. Charvak says spirituality is just a hog-pog term. Hog-pog? Hodgepodge. Sudipta says you are live streaming every day. Burnout होना जाए. थोड़ा बहुत होगा, but I will see. Maybe we can have the daily live stream cap at about 40 minutes. मतलब इतना ड्यूरेशन का होगा. And we'll see what happens. मैं पहले करता था. Instagram पे I used to go live every day. Monday to Saturday. Sunday को छोड़ देता था. Every night from 10 to 11 I used to come live. So we'll see what we can do about this. Uh, Sridhar says Otangelo just did correlation and causation fallacy. Arijit says the spirit is what actually is in the scriptures has been referred to as consciousness, and it is consciousness which survives everything. No, it doesn't. Consciousness, we have no evidence to suggest that consciousness survives the death of the body which is conscious. If you have evidence, bring it. अरे कहाँ गया रे हाँ Alien says, I have actually never liked Star Trek before, so I didn't compare Orville to it. Well, except that Picard show, which you said was the worst. It was very disappointing, the Picard show. But it is Picard, and I will still watch it. I probably wouldn't recommend it to a first timer. Positive energy is such an empty term. I shudder every time I hear it. It just falls under the category of fake compliments. Arun says, if we make an invisibility device, I will claim that Tolkien Rowling knew about it. uh, right. I'm ignoring Otangelo right now. He's just embarrassing himself. Recently, a spiritual padha likha guy who I met in a trip came in my DM saying, thrashing of Muslims by police. Mohabbat Sharbat blocked him and asked friends on internet to call him Nazi in DM. Yeah, so don't get people to go harass someone. That is never a good thing. Just block and move on. What they want for the most part is your attention. If you give it to them, if they get attention from a lot of people, you make it easy for them to claim to be a victim. Pankaj says, in my early days into atheism, I used to say I am not very religious but spiritual, just to not be disrespectful, without even knowing what being spiritual is. I still don't. Yeah, nobody knows. Even people who claim to be spiritual don't know what spiritualism means. The word has so many definitions. It's Awara Billah says people bombed Miss Marvel's reviews just like Captain Marvel. Yeah, तो वो तो होगा. Racists are always going to have problem with the representation on television. Aditya says, Vimoh just logged in, saying hi to you and all here, especially Otangelo for providing comic relief. Manmat says, today I stumbled upon Praveen Mohan's video. He discovered how Vishnu used to fly. I'm not making it up. He did say Superstition Ultra Max, bro. Why are you watching Praveen Mohan's videos? He's that ancient aliens guy, right? प्रणव का जो पुराना वीडियो था उसके ऊपर ही था. Charvak says the biggest problem of urban superstition is that it never accepts that it is a superstition. It tries to justify the nonsense through pseudoscience, pseudo histories, conspiracy theory of Muslim overtake, etc. Yep. Awara Billa says, I feel like consciousness is like software. The brain hardware is now at a level that heavy software like consciousness is supported. Once hardware crashes, software crashes at the same time. That's a I don't know enough about consciousness to say if that analogy fits, but I don't have a huge problem with this analogy because it seems to support what we do know. When the hardware crashes, the software goes. Alien says, what does a utopian egalitarian society look like in a practical sense? Do we have any positive examples of such societies in the world, or do we only know what it is not and keep improving? I suppose that is the answer. We know what it is not, and we keep improving. It's like there is a book called The Evolution of Everything by, I'm forgetting the author's name, Matthew something, I think. But that book says if you look at history, you realize that nothing actually ever happened in the way that we think it did. Everything happened incrementally. The things that we take for granted right now, like take books for example. First, writing happened, then surfaces happened on which things were written, then the surfaces got thinner, then the surfaces got collated, then the book happened, then the printing press happened, then we have what we have right now. At no point in history did was someone like, okay, here's a book, brand new thing that did not exist till now. So everything that comes into existence happens because of many much smaller incremental things that have been happening from way before. Democracy didn't actually start at some point because the seed of democracy was sown a long time ago. Somebody must have thought, okay, there has to be a better system than this. And then we worked on that, and now we have this. And maybe this is not even the final form of the tree. Maybe iska abhi super saiyan banna baki hai. So We don't know, we have a system, we know it is not perfect, we are changing it in some respects, and if we keep doing this, we will eventually one day maybe get to a point where we have something better, and even that will be not perfect, and we will keep improving. Chandigarh humanist and Freethinker says, yes, we are doing activism in Chandigarh Tri-City to propagate atheism, freedom of speech, secularism, and humanism. Our motto is Jai Insan, Jai Vigyan. Ah, I see. I have heard this. Were you on Human with Science ka live stream at some point? Have we spoken? Aditya Verma says urban superstition is supported by the privileged. It is only in their interest to keep it as it is. Yeah, but the problem with urban superstition is that urban communities in general have a lot of influence. So if something starts happening in a city, it starts appearing on the TV, and then it goes to smaller cities and then to villages. A lot of ambitions that people like, take gaming for example, gaming careers. Uh, it started in Europe and America and South Korea. It became visible through YouTube. Now, major Indian cities have gamers, and because of their success, because their videos are on YouTube, many younger people in smaller towns have decided that they also want to do pro gaming or have YouTube gaming channels. So गेमिंग चैनल्स का तो ये है एवरीवेयर ऑन यूट्यूब somebody is asking गेमिंग चैनल को ग्रो कैसे करे. Someone is giving insurance advice, उसके कमेंट्स में लिखा है गेमिंग चैनल को ग्रो कैसे करे. People have no idea how to do it, and there is a lot of content on this, by the way, but people ask this question everywhere on the internet: how to grow a gaming channel. If you search on YouTube, you'll find that there are YouTube channels devoted to this completely. I have discovered this recently because I'm trying to grow my own. Avara Billa says, I might be wrong, but I don't claim that I know the eternal truth about consciousness. Well, that's honest, I guess. I don't I don't even know if there is an eternal truth about consciousness. Evolution of Everything is by Matt Ridley. Yes, Matthew बोल रहा था मैं, Matt Ridley. Matt Ridley. Robert says, you don't believe it, but I do. That monkey body flies far away in misunderstanding with mango and sun. He eats sun accidentally, which is, ये क्या लिखा है? रॉबर्ट एक काम करो, हिंदी में कमेंट टाइप करो. हिंदी में पढ़ूंगा, हिंदी में जवाब दूंगा. मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या लिखा है. Aditya says, an utopian egalitarian society is an impossibility because there will always be something wrong. Even if it is ignored, it remains and corrupts. Democracy is an example of that. It is a corruption. Two by two, it is an ancient Greek system. Charvak says today, when crimes happen against women, people take protest march in favor of accused or perpetrators of crime, not in favor of justice and women and victims. This is the worst apolitical apathy. No, no, it's not apathy. It's political activism. Apolitical कुछ और लोग होते हैं. Apolitical apathy is a problem among people who know what is right and wrong, but don't do anything. The people who take out protests, etc., are totally political. They are engaging in politics. They're not doing it in a very good and healthy way, but they are engaging in politics. Apolitical apathy is, मैं political नहीं हूँ. क्या फर्क पड़ता है इस सब से? People who think that the bad stuff in society will not affect them, but it will. Our logic says there's some good research on spirituality from Newberg and something that I can't pronounce. The studies explain the feel good component and demonstrate that there is nothing supernatural about it. Yeah, so for the people who describe spirituality as that which makes me happy, this applies. But there are also people who describe spirituality as something else, like spiritual medium जो लोग हैं, they describe spirituality as literally connecting with spirits of dead people. So, if you are describing spirituality the way urban superstition describes it, like, oh my God, I was at the beach, the experience was so spiritual, then yeah, this applies. But in other contexts, not so much. Aditya Verma says, at least from a Eurocentric perspective, in continuation from my last message. Piyush says, spirituality is a cover of a Sanghi who likes convenience in urban spaces. यूज मौका मिलते ही वो विराट रूप दिखा देगा. नास्तिक आस्तिक का एवोल्यूशन नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव पे कर दिया स्पिरिचुअलिटी ने. Robert says, for reply to Alien, that some of European countries disband their local police department because crimes decrease to the point they don't need it. Wow. आवारा बिल्ला से सब मोह माया है, कॉन्शियसनेस गया भाड़ में, मैं जा रहा हूँ 1 महीने में 2 करोड़ कमाने इन्वेस्ट करके। Arun says Jordan Peterson, for some reason, reminds me of Hindu atheist. He doesn't believe in the literal truth of his religion, but he still wants to follow it. I am not so sure about that. He was asked if he believes that the resurrection of Jesus is literal truth, and he did not answer the question. He did not answer the question because I suspect he's trying to remain cozy with his newfound right wing audience, like American right wing. So he did not. I think on some level, he's also an opportunist. Aditya says, what is this thing about urban superstition? I didn't realize there was a taxonomy for superstition, or is it just me because I was late here? I think it's because you're late here. I kind of described it, but in a nutshell, urban superstition is the label I'm applying to, you know, hip superstition like tarot cards, astrology, spiritual mediums, the newfound, not newfound, basically repainted superstition that is subscribed to by well educated Indian urbanites. I'm going to talk more about this. We are going to make urban superstition a trending topic one day. People are going to search for urban superstition and come to this channel. We'll make that happen. पीयूष से स्पिरिचुअल लोगों का रोना आजकल निफ्टी से कमाई नहीं हो रही है उससे हो रहा है बस विश लिबरल्स कुड क्राई फॉर पीपल एंड नॉट जस्ट मनी यप ट्रू अरुण says JP believes religion is necessary for social order. Well, yeah, he does believe that. Doesn't mean he's right. Robert says मैं बोला कि एक baby monkey accidentally eats sun but how he breathe in space I can't understand. Well, you will be surprised if you look for the 14 levels of reality in Hindu cosmology, you will find an epified video that I made back when I was spiritual religious. And उसमें describe किया गया है जो मतलब usually it's like two words, right? The mortal pain and the heaven. So in Hindu mythology, there are like 7 above and 7 below. So the highest level is where some supreme beings live, but the level just above us is described as a level which contains stars and air. So apparently, in that level of with our understanding of that period of time, you could breathe in space. So it is not surprising that this character you're speaking of breathed in space and ate the sun. Alogic says the only spirits I know to be real come in come in bottles. Charvak says there are many voters in India who always claim we are neutral and don't support any political views of party. But in recent times, trends show that tendency to increase hate against minorities. Yeah. So the problem with apolitical apathy is that it allows people to hide their true political affiliations. Like someone will say, I don't really, I'm like, I don't care about political views. I don't care. I don't agree with the politics of this party. But if you don't agree with the views of a political party and yet you are not opposing when they do something really bad, you're basically letting them get away with it. Like if you're, it's like Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man, the first movie, the Tobey Maguire one, you saw that scene, right? Where some guy was robbing another man and Peter Parker is like, not my problem. He let the crime happen when he had the power to stop it. Now, I'm not saying as a MNC employee or one person, you have the power to stop a local minister, but you have the power to speak truth within your social circles. And you're not even doing that. You are trying to keep the peace by saying, I'm not political. I think politics is so dirty that I don't want to get into it. But the only reason you don't want to get into it is because you can survive not getting into it. And one day, the impact of your lack of engagement with politics will come and bite you in the ass. And on that day, someone else who you expect help from will say, नहीं मैं पॉलिटिक्स में नहीं पढ़ना चाहता. तुम्हारे घर में जब पानी नहीं आता है दैट इज पॉलिटिकल. तुम्हारे घर में जब बिजली नहीं आती है दैट इज पॉलिटिकल. तुम जब स्कूल का फीस देने जाते हो और तुमको लगता है कि इतना ज़्यादा पैसा क्यों देना पड़ रहा है बच्चे के एजुकेशन के लिए, दैट इज पॉलिटिकल. एवरीथिंग इज क्वाइट लिटरली पॉलिटिकल. यू लिव इनसाइड अ पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम. Arijit says consciousness is mistaken for mental activity. Then, so Right. I am not going to comment on this because, as I said, I think there are scientists working on this. Any positive statement about consciousness, I don't know if I can verify it. So I'm leaving this out. JP says, don't you think that intellectual backing of right wing is from upper caste living abroad? Well, yeah, it is, but not entirely. I mean, I'll be lying if I said that the upper caste population living outside of India is wholly responsible for what is happening. They are backing it, yes. But the backing of superstition, urban superstition, and right wing politics in India is primarily coming from Indian society, casteist, Savarna Indian society. Oh, we have a $3 Canadian super sticker from Pankaj Bhagat. Thank you, Pankaj. Much appreciated. I will just remind everyone that I am an independent creator, and if you want to support my work, you can become a member of the channel by clicking the join button below. And if you do so, you will be paying 159 rupees every month, and you will be supporting this channel and my work. This channel जिसको मैं अभी daily करने वाला हूँ. So that help is appreciated. Also, you can set a super chat on this live stream. And also, if you don't want to do any of that, you can simply go to my blog, which is at vimoh.stck.me, and you can make a one-time donation of any amount of your choice. If you don't want to pay 200 rupees every month, you can make one donation and with no monthly or annual commitments on my blog. There is a support button there. Click it and pay through any means that you are able to. Also, I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Vimoh. If you want to support there, that is also an option. And with that, I am at the 1 hour mark for this live stream. There are a few more comments. Let me read them. Hold on. Did I miss something? Hmm. Um, Aditya says one of the best excuses I have heard was from my ex CEO who conducted a Ganesh Homam Yagya to inaugurate our new office with total disregard to other religion employees. He said it makes people believe in goodness and that optimizing is important for the success of the company. This was the excuse to carry out a ritual in a public place. Yeah, optimize कर रहे थे वो. Uh, Robert says, I see people usually say liberals will cry. I don't know if they know what is the meaning of liberal. For example, Sham Sharma, a YouTuber, says he is right wing RSS BJP puppet. He spreads hate. Sham Sharma is a right winger. Yeah, Sham Sharma does not hide the fact that he's a right winger. I thought you were saying that somebody is pretending to be liberal. Aditya says people believe. Okay, already said that. Sudipta says, is there anyone in chat who has recommendations for pop science books about consciousness that are written by scientists? If people know this book, if people know any books, please do recommend. Hmm. Piyush says, proof of our lives are political. Map having country names, etc. is called political map. Nation theory से ही politics शुरू हो जाती है. Yeah. If you are apolitical, then you are probably unaware of the fact that when you support a cricket team in a cricket match, in an international cricket match, you're doing something political. I think the biggest misconception among urban people is that I think the biggest misconception among urban people about politics is that politics is about political parties and elections. That's a small part of it. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज वाई यू फाइंड अ लॉट ऑफ लिबरल से पता नहीं ये पार्टी कब पावर से जाएगी, बेटा तुम इस पार्टी को पावर से हटा दोगे, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा अगर तुम इसी प्रकार के व्यवहार में लिप्त रहे तो कोई और पार्टी आ जाएगी और वो यही सब करेगी और तुम फिर से उम्मीद करोगे कब पता नहीं ये पार्टी कब जाएगी. पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम के अंदर रहने का मतलब है अपने पॉलिटिकल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स को अकाउंटेबल बनाए रखना, उनके डिसीजंस को क्वेश्चन करना, उनके मोटिवेशंस को लेके सस्पिशियस होना और डिमांड करना आंसर, ना सिर्फ हाथ जोड़ के बाबूजी प्लीज थोड़ा बता दीजिए कुछ अगर हो सके तो. दे वर्क फॉर यू. You are in politics. People ask me, why don't you join politics? I'm like, I'm in politics. You are also in politics. Why don't you realize this? Being in politics does not mean joining a political party only. We are all in politics. Right. So that would be the end of this episode, guys. 1 घंटा 5 मिनट हो गया. Once more, if you want to make a donation to this channel, you can do so at vimoh.stack.me, vimo.stck.me. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/vimo. If you want to support me in some other way, there is a join button below this video. You can click on it and you can become a member of the channel. Good announcement. परसों से मंडे से दिस यूट्यूब लाइव स्ट्रीम चैनल विल बी डेली एवरी डे एट 10 p.m. I will come live from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday we will not do live streams. This will now be a 5-day a week live stream. So I hope to see you all here on Mondays. And hold on, कुछ और कमेंट आए थे? नहीं, कुछ नहीं आया था. सही है. आज का एपिसोड समाप्त करने का समय आ गया है. मैं आपसे मिलूंगा मंडे रात के 10 बजे. अगेन अगले हफ्ते से मंडे ट्यूसडे वेडनेसडे थर्सडे फ्राइडे विल बी लाइव स्ट्रीम नाइट्स. सैटरडे एंड संडे देर विल बी नो लाइव स्ट्रीम. सो मंडे टू फ्राइडे 10 p.m. this channel will be live. I will see you on Monday at 10 p.m. Bye bye.